Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's Facebook Live. Let me double check that I'm going live here. All right, looks good. So tonight I'm talking about the upcoming new moon in Libra. I have been doing these astrology walkthroughs roughly every 2 weeks for the new and full moons. This is part of more Facebook Lives that I'm doing. If you don't know who I am, or if you're new to my page or my channel, my business is fairy themed, and my name through my business is Julianne Fay. And I'm just like so like I split my attention from one task to another to hop on here for this. So I think my brain is split, which is a little bit Libra vibes, not gonna lie. But anyways, so I'm a professional astrologer and a certified angel card reader, and I do astrology readings as well as angel card readings and soul coaching, which is when I combine the two mediums. So, like I said, I've been doing these astrological walkthroughs for the new and full moons of the month. Now, this is a broad overview, for the collective. So, if you're interested in getting much more of a more personalized, focused, deep dive about what a particular new full moon cycle is doing for you, I would definitely recommend exploring one of my customized moon reports. That's when I go in individually into your chart and I actually inform from your chart what are the key themes, lessons, strengths, weaknesses, challenges for you in that month for the new and full moon. And I prepare that as an audio report for you, and it's sent via email. So if you're interested in that, check the description of this video. You can email me at juliannefay@gmail.com with your interest. And I do those every month. So for a given month that you're interested, you can do it 1 month and skip the next. It's no commitment to keep doing it month to month. So let's look here at what's happening in the skies. So I'm recording this for you guys on September 26th, the evening of September 26th. So we're coming up a couple of days here away from the next new full moon cycle. And this one is in Libra. We started Libra season at the beginning of this week, along with Mabon, the Celtic holiday, or the autumnal equinox. So now we've shifted our energy from some of the very minute, detailed organization energy within Virgo to realizing that, okay, well, we've been working really hard at getting disciplined and trained about how we want to get things underway, but now we kind of need to heal some of that loneliness or isolation that might have come as a result of doing that. So we're actively seeking out the one-to-one connections. So you might find yourself doing a lot more communication with people, a lot more relationship building again. All of a sudden, maybe that kind of took a little bit of a back seat during Virgo season, and that's now coming back into play. So, the energy of Libra season, we've just started the season, right? So we're just a couple days into it. And I always find, as with any transit, including the sun or the moon, you feel the most amount of the energy of the transit as we get to the end of it. That's like the power punch. That's when it's at peak energy. So, if you're still kind of not feeling like you're in balance and you're feeling a little bit socially isolated, it's okay, because Libra season is about the process of working towards getting into balance, right? And definitely this new moon in Libra is going to provide a little bit of a power punch to that. And depending upon where Libra is in your chart, the house placement and how it's aspected in your chart, that will determine how this new moon in Libra will be for you. So you can see here on September 28th at 2:26 p.m., we have a new moon in Libra, and this is at 5 degrees. So I've gone ahead and pulled that chart up for us here. And I've just done this with New York time. Also, if you're watching this live on my Facebook business page, definitely feel free to say hi, leave a comment in the chat so I can know that you're here. I love when people can catch me live. And let's just kind of dive right into this chart. So we could see here that we have the sun and the moon conjunct at 5 degrees. New moons are when the sun and the moon come together. Full moons are when the sun and moon are in opposition to each other. They're on opposite sides. So traditionally, new moons are more inward, reflective, initiating, almost like seed forming, initiating type energies. And full moon is expressive, expansive, releasing energies. Interesting that putting this time and putting this as New York, this comes up in actually the 9th house, which is the house of Sagittarius. So that's providing a lot more fire, a lot more wisdom to this energy, which is already a lot about seeking truth. Libra and Sagittarius can get along. Of course, I'm just talking about just those energies, not to say that if you are a Libra and you know someone who's a Sagittarius and you don't get along, that there's something wrong with you. There's obviously a lot more going on in the chart besides just sun sign, as you could see even in this chart. But certainly fire and air, when they come together, they alchemize each other. So fire signs with air signs will sort of inflate the air element of the air signs, and then the fire signs will feel like they have more momentum because there's this element, the air element, that's fanning their fire. It's fueling their fire. So the fire and air elements can actually get along quite well in that way because they complement one another. So it's interesting because if you are living on the East Coast in the Northeast region, this is coming up with a lot of Sagittarius energy too because of the house placement this is falling in. So we've got a big pile up of energy here in Libra. So we have Mercury here, Mercury in Libra, Venus in Libra here. So we have Mercury, Venus, Sun, and Moon all in Libra. Mars hasn't quite made it there yet. Mars is still transiting at the end of Virgo. And, we could see here that we have a little bit of tension with, why is that showing up as a, let's see. Oh, it's the moon, I think, is plotting it. Let's see what Mars is doing here. So Mars is squaring Jupiter still. It's a pretty wide orb now. We're looking at about 9 degrees there. And as this moves into Libra, that's going to really lessen. Some of these early planets in Libra are squaring over to Saturn. And I don't think, let's see here. So it is showing Sun square Saturn and Moon square Saturn. That's a wide orb though. So the Sun and the Moon at 5 degrees and Saturn at 14. That's a pretty wide orb. So it's not going to be felt as intensely as it would if it was within 1 or even 3 degrees. But certainly Saturn's a really powerful planet. So, and the Sun and Moon are also equally very powerful. So being that they're all important players in the game, they definitely, can feel it even if it's a wider orb. The reason why this is a square is that this is cardinal Earth with cardinal air. So Capricorn is about wanting to focus on the long haul and going up the mountain and getting stuff done and amplifying and progressing forward with some type of big journey, obstacle, ambition. Libra is more concerned about the connections and the feelings, the sentiments, and the energy that can come from that softness of learning, as well as beauty, as well as romance and connection. So the tension there between Libra and Capricorn is that Libra feels like Capricorn is not very romantic and isn't really so much in the moment about the beauty of the moment. And Capricorn feels like some of the Libra energy is a little bit too much fluff, and that it's not necessarily accomplishing anything or providing anything towards the growth of the journey. Now, what's interesting is that Libra is actually exalted. In astrology, exalted means that it's well placed. In Saturn in Libra is considered an exalted placement of Saturn. So these two energies are not completely foreign to each other in the way that maybe Aries and Capricorn might struggle a little bit more, but for maybe different reasons. But Aries is like wanting to push forward and get things done, and Capricorn can respect that drive and that initiative. Capricorn just wants Aries to step back and kind of assess and look at things before it kind of dives in and puts the work in. And the interesting thing is that Libran energy can do that. Libran energy has the ability to step back and assess and look at both sides of the equation and determine things. And that takes self-control and patience to be able to do that. So Capricorn has respect and appreciation for, or Saturn, I should say, really, has respect and appreciation for that ability to be discerning and patient and step back and look at the situation. It's just when you get too stuck in the indecision of it that you don't actually move beyond that and move past that. That's where the problem lies. So there's definitely a little bit of common ground, you know, between the Saturn and Capricorn and some of these Libran energies, but this could be manifesting for people in the form of, you know, if you enjoy Libra energy, and for myself, I'm a very strong Virgo, but I have my moon in Libra and my ascendant in Libra. This new moon is actually not aspecting my moon or my ascendant because those are at later degrees of Libra. In fact, Mercury right now is within 2 degrees of my moon, and so Mercury and Venus are all up on my moon right now, or will be because I've dated this a couple of days in the future, this chart. But this new moon is actually aspecting my south node, which is the part of one's chart that's related to your karmic past and a lot of energy that you've worked in past lives. So the difference between the south node and the north node in a chart, and you can see that in this chart here, because we have the north node in Cancer and the south node in Capricorn, is that the north node represents where we spiritually, energetically want to gravitate towards more of. It's like the new, fresh energy we want to taste, try on, or integrate. The south node represents things that we've already tasted. We've already tried that on for size. We are familiar with it. We can embody it and marry ourselves to that energy because we've already done it and we're familiar with it. But we don't want to get stuck there. We want to actually be moving towards the north node and trying new things. So for me, this particular new moon cycle, I've been feeling it even towards the beginning of this week, has been a little bit of womp womp energy for me, where I feel a little bit more stuck and I feel like things are a little bit more stale. I do feel like more energized with the moon transiting in Virgo right now as I'm recording this for you, definitely helping me out. So I think you have to look at what is in your chart and how it's aspected. So for somebody like me that has this particular new moon aspecting my south node, that means that even though this is a new moon, this particular new moon is actually also almost functioning like a full moon for me, because it's also about releasing the past, releasing karmic energies, purging the past, and moving out of that and rebalancing my life to tip towards things that are more in alignment with what I want more of. So this can be definitely releasing emotional attachments and releasing attachment to things that maybe were out of balance and things like that. So this is why it's important to understand, you know, where in your chart, what house is Libra for you. And in particular, you want to look at 5 degrees of Libra, because some people have houses that are split between, you know, 2 different signs, or some people, you know, even could have a little bit more chaotic than that. So it's very possible that you could have 2 different houses that span across Libra. You know, that's very, very common or very possible to happen. So you want to look at also the degree placement. If you are a Libra, sun, moon, rising, and you're watching this, again, you want to think about, okay, what degree of that am I? Because if you're a 1 degree Libra sun sign, this is very much affecting you. This is a new moon that's conjuncting, you know, your sun sign within 4 degrees, and you probably had your birthday a couple of days ago, so this is definitely affecting you. This is going to be a very important year for you because it's a new moon on your sun sign, so it's initiating this new energy, right? If you're, let's say, like a 29 degree Libra or a 21 degree Libra, this particular new moon is not going to be affecting you as much as the people that were born at the beginning of Libra season, because this is within the first 5 degrees of Libra, right? So you want to be looking at also the degrees and how that's involved in the story. It's not to say that if you're a Libra and the degrees don't match up, that it's not affecting you. It still is, because it's in the energy native to an important energy in your chart. It's just that it affects other people who are what we call within orb even more. And for this sun moon, I would look at a 10-degree orb. So I would look at potentially like the end of Virgo, but so basically 25 degrees of Virgo, up to even 15 degrees of Libra. You want to look at what planets or energies do you have between those degrees. But in particular, the people that will really feel it the most are people that are 0, 1 degree Libras up to about 10-degree Libras. That's really a sweet spot where people will be feeling it most intensely. And if you have it on the exact degree, within 1 degree or within 3 degrees, you'll really be feeling it. So it becomes increasingly more important the tighter the orb becomes. So like I was saying, this is a lot about, bringing in balance, bringing socialization back into your life, looking at the relationships that are in your life and which ones you want to give your energy, your time, and your attention to. And definitely the squares to Capricorn are going to say, is my connection, is my energy with this person on the path? You want to think of this energy with Saturn and Capricorn like going up a mountain. Imagine what would it take to go up Mount Everest. You're going to have the right gear. You're going to have the right physical fitness, the right stamina, the right mental mindset to be able to do that. And you're probably going to need to have a good group of people around you to do that journey with. And people that you can trust, people that you feel energetically safe with, people that support you emotionally, physically, spiritually, right? For that type of long journey. So this is definitely a time when a lot of people are assessing the relationships, the connections that they have in their life. And this doesn't have to be just romantic. This can also be friendship, family, even work related as well. You're really examining these connections and these people you have in your life and asking yourself, is it worth it for me to have this person in my life? Is it somebody that I think is part of the path? They're part of the journey. They're part of the long haul, right? And there could be a little bit of restructuring or reshuffling or some emotions that come out that you have to process, about this. So that's definitely a lot of Libran energy, and also the Libran energy in square to this big pileup of energy, in particular the South Node conjunct Saturn, because the South Node on Saturn adds this element of karmic releasing. The South Node is already releasing energy, and it's technically not its own planet or thing. It's a mathematically calculated point that is related to eclipses that were important before you were born, and also the polarities of the moon sign. It's a little complicated to explain, but just understand it as sort of like this drain. When you turn the water on and it goes down the drain serves like almost like that South Node. It's the releasing, it's the purging, it's the past. We need to have that, though. We do need to have releasing, right? But we also don't want to get stuck in the middle of the drain. We want to be able to release it and let it go. So having the South Node on Saturn is a lot about karmic purging, releasing, restructuring of systems or work-related things or societies or corporations that you belong to. This is obviously happening on a much bigger national and global scale as well. Saturn Capricorn is literally related to the restructuring or the kind of the karma of governments and things like that. And we see that happening all over the world. But in particular, bringing this down to like a personal level, this is about what do you subscribe to on a career level, on an ambition level, on a I belong to this level, that maybe you're restructuring in your life and you need to let go of certain things to welcome in new things, things that are emotionally supportive, because the North Node is in Cancer. Things that feel good to you, things that your intuition resonates with. Hi, Brandy. So good to see you. So I'm a bit of a ways in, Brandy, so you'll definitely have to go back and rewatch from the beginning. I know that you'll enjoy it all. But a lot of this energy is definitely energy that we've been integrating and processing for a lot of this year, this Saturn energy, and also into last year, and we'll continue to integrate it into next year. So that's a long-standing transit we're under, the Saturn in Capricorn, right? It's being like contrasted right now with the Libra energy coming up with this new moon, which is to say, what people do you have around you? Who is your tribe? And are these people that resonate around you still resonating or not? Are they making you feel good? Are they making you feel safe? Are they making you feel loved? Are they bringing balance into your life? Are they bringing beauty into your life? Are they harmonious, right? These are the questions that you're asking yourself. And you might be finding yourself almost like shying away from connections or relationships that you feel are out of balance, are not bringing that beauty and that positivity and that Venus energy into your life. You might be kind of starting to shy away from them, you know, because you recognize that it's not helping you with the path, the goals that you have, the long-term vision you have for success. Now, also with this new moon, like I said, we have the Mars square Jupiter going on. And we have some other positive aspects here, though. We have Mercury that's sextiling Jupiter. This is, again, a bit of a wider orb. So this is about 6 degrees. But this means that intellectually, we're able to look at things from both sides. We're able to weigh things out. We might have a little bit of extra bonus points from the universe right now for patience because of the fact that we don't have too much in Aries. I'm definitely going to talk about this opposition, though, because that's really important. But we really don't have too much going on in Aries. So there is a lot of energy right now about weighing things out, gathering the facts, preparing the plan, slow but steady wins the race. These are a lot of the themes right now. You know, as we continue to move through the fall season, in particular when we get into Sagittarius season, that's going to be very explosive energy, right? Because that's going to put the sun and the personal planets that follow in and around that with Jupiter in Sagittarius. So it's going to expand things. So right now we're getting almost like a little bit of that because it's an air element with Jupiter. So it's definitely expansive, but it's also a little bit tempered at the same time because of this square to, you know, the Saturn energy and all of that. Good. I'm so glad to hear that, Brandy. So glad to hear it. And if anyone else is catching this live, definitely leave a note in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and know that you're here. The more people that I can get live, the more that I'd like to do more contests and things so that perhaps I can feature some of the charts of people that get a chance to watch and actually get a chance to get some free astrology. So definitely spreading the word about catching me live is a great thing. So what else do I want to talk about? I want to talk about the opposition to Chiron that's going on. So this is a pretty tight orb. You'll remember what I was saying about the orbs and how the tighter the orb, the more it's felt and the more important it becomes the tighter the orb. So Chiron has been transiting in early Aries. It's been doing that for a while, and it will continue to be there for a while. Right now it's at 3 degrees. It's in retrograde. Let's actually check, when did Chiron go retrograde? So Chiron went retrograde at the beginning of July, and I don't think it goes direct for a while. Let's see. Here we are, December 12th. So not actually until Jupiter enters Capricorn will Chiron go direct. So pretty much for all of the fall season. Technically the winter season starts with Yule and the winter solstice, right? With also the start of Capricorn season. So pretty much for most of the fall, Chiron will be retrograde in Aries. And let's see, at what degree does it go direct? Yeah, so it doesn't go back into Pisces. It goes all the way back to 1 degree, though. It moves pretty slowly, but it's going to be transiting these early degrees of Aries. So if you are somebody that's under the influence of this with planets in early degrees of Aries, you know, 1 up to 5 degrees of Aries, you're really feeling this transit of Chiron, which is about healing, attracting the right healers in your life, looking at your wounds, looking at the wounded parts of you and confronting them and coming to peace with them, coming to terms with them. And a lot of that might take courage because it might involve you having to look at your own ego or the ways that you maybe are too impulsive or rash. I think brash is the word. And you might kind of like, you know, all of those different expressions that people have, but you like, you know, forget what the one is, something with your nose for the face and shoot yourself in the foot, like all those different things, right? Where you like impulsively react to something out of ego and then realize that maybe it was like an overreaction or wasn't as important as you thought, you know. But also Aries rules the physical body and the self. So this is also healing about the physical body, health as well, and stamina and energy, because Aries is the warrior, you know, so it's concerned with making sure it's physically fit and it has the right physical fitness to endure the battle. That is another component of Aries, as well as everything else I was talking about, the mind, the head, the ego, all of these things. So if we look at these placements, sun and moon, this is at 5 degrees. So this is opposing Chiron at 3 degrees within a 2-degree orb. So this means that at the same time that we're looking at the partnerships, the connections, the relationships we have in our life, and if they're harmonious and peaceful, loving, and providing of greater good for us, we're also examining ourselves and who we are and how we relate in that relationship. And we might be very aware of our wounds in relationships. We might be looking at the ways that maybe we self-sabotage in relationships, or you might be more present to just the ways that you need to kind of accept maybe your shadow self or witness yourself and heal yourself in the ways that you might self-sabotage in relationships or trying to make commitments to other people or be balanced in your life. So overall, I think that this new moon definitely can provide a lot of healing and a lot of awareness. I think this would be a really good new moon to do some journaling and to really do some journaling around in what ways is your life out of balance and what could you do to heal or improve that, you know? And definitely if you are into journaling and you like journaling, I have a paid membership called Fearlessly Fairy where I basically do card readings week by week. There's a private Facebook group with that. There's a 20% discount on getting private card readings from me with that group. And you also get access to a reflection document that I write where you can journal, and I customize that month to month. So, and that's only $20 a month, that membership. So if some of what I'm talking about is appealing to you, definitely feel free to reach out with interest in that. Right now I've got a membership called Fearlessly Fairy for cards, and I have a wait list going for astrology, another similar form month-to-month astrology membership, and then I also have the option to join both of those groups at a discounted rate. So definitely feel free to reach out if you're interested. I'm glad it helps, Brandy. I'm glad it helps. And feel free to leave comments or if you guys have questions. I'm not going to be able to answer personal questions based on your chart because I'm doing this for the collective. But we're pretty much nearing about 28 minutes here. So I'm going to start winding down with this. But those of you that are on my email newsletter, you'll get this. I will be uploading this to my YouTube channel. So make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. You can see in the description, there's a link to my YouTube channel there. So head over there, give it a subscribe so you get notified when videos go up on there. And also another way to keep up to date is to be on my email newsletter, which I recently rebooted. And I'm including my YouTube videos and my lives from there, as well as special discounts and other goodies will be in there as well that won't be accessible anywhere else on my social media channels. So definitely make sure that you're subscribed to my email newsletter. If you're interested in being on the email newsletter and you're not subscribed yet, you can email me at julieannbay@gmail.com and let me know you'd like to be subscribed. Or you can actually go to my website, and my website's under massive repair. but the newsletter sign up still works on the home page. So you can go there and you can type in your name and your email and you can get subscribed to the newsletter that way. And there will be another issue of that newsletter coming out soon, within the next, hopefully within the next day, that will help you to, you know, have access to this video to watch that new moon in Libra and all of that. The last thing I want to say too is that we have this really strong Jupiter-Neptune square going on. Jupiter at 17 degrees of Sag and Neptune at 16 degrees of Pisces, and Neptune's in retrograde. This has been something that we've been dealing with on and off all year. There's been spells where it's come in really close and we felt it quite intensely, and then they've kind of backed up off of each other. This has been like a push-pull with that. So right now we're in one of those spells, I believe the last spell of the year, that, in fact, it definitely is going to be the last spell, because Jupiter will move out of Sagittarius and go into Capricorn at the beginning of December of this year. But right now we're in that kind of final spell of them squaring each other. So there's tension between Pisces and Sagittarius energy. Definitely Pisces and Sag have certain things in common. You know, they both like escapism in some ways. They both like to have fun. They just like to have fun kind of for different reasons. Sagittarius is looking at expansion through the lens of higher learning and wisdom and truth-seeking and adventure. Pisces also definitely is interested in adventure, but Pisces is interested in it more so because they want to bring more oneness to the world. They want to bring more compassion, more connection, you know, more forgiveness to the world. So the expansion that Pisces can do is actually technically more vast than what Sagittarius can do, because Neptune is a more expansive planet. If you think about the ocean, that's more expansive than Jupiter, right? Than what we could achieve if we were to travel all over the world, right? They're both expansive, but it's almost like the Neptunian energy, the Piscean energy is like unfathomable how expansive that is, because I think most of us can't say that we've explored every nook and cranny of the ocean. It's like beyond comprehension how deep and how vast and how wide that goes. And there's also this very mysterious component to it where it's like we almost don't even understand how deep it goes. Sagittarius is a little bit more tangible because we understand, like if I wanted to travel to Russia right now, I would understand kind of how to do that, how to look up flights or look up flight prices or things like that and make that happen. So it's a little bit more accessible than some of the Piscean energies. So they definitely have common ground, but the tension that they have is that Neptune's, so the tension, we kind of have to look at the shadow sides of these two energies, you know? So Pisces' shadow side or Neptune's shadow side is that it can create disillusionment, it can create confusion, fatigue. It carries the negative emotional side of Neptune can be guilt and shame when there's like so much emotional energy that's being received, but it's not being channeled precisely or accurately or focused, or there's not energetic clearing going on. So as a result of feeling all these feelings, there can be confusion about what's mine and what's theirs. And that can create sometimes toxic emotions or like toxic emotional projections that come up. The shadow side of Jupiter is that, or Sagittarius energy, is that, you know, it's about belief systems, right? So we've all experienced people that are really passionate about a particular belief system, and that may be their truth, but that's not your truth. So there's this component with Sag and Jupiter that it's like truth. When we get to belief system kind of truth instead of fact truth, like Gemini and Mercury would rule, Gemini and Virgo and Mercury would rule facts truth, precision, accuracy, data, research, we can get to a point where it's like the perception or understanding of what truth is subjective or skewed, right? So think of somebody in your life right now that has a particular belief system that you don't agree with. That is their personal truth. That may not be your personal truth, right? And there are people that can make judgments or make decisions of the mind that are not based on maybe all of the accuracies. So there's like this inflated quality where it's like people could blow things out of proportion in the mind, or like believe things that aren't true, or project their belief systems onto other people. These are shadow sides of these energies. So we're under that right now, and I think you could think about how this is happening at like a more collective level. But then when these energies square off with each other, it's like this difficulty about figuring out what to believe, right? Or what to feel. Because one is trying to expand through the emotions and the feeling, the compassion, the intuition, the wisdom of the intuition. The other one is trying to expand through higher learning, universities, books, gurus, all of these things, belief systems, religions, faiths, all of these things. So it's like, okay, which one do I subscribe to? You know, it's like trying to watch two different YouTube channels at the same time, but they're both tabs are up and they're both talking at the same time. And you're trying to like absorb both energies at the same time. It may be that you have to pause one and listen to one and be in one for a little bit, pause that one, and then go back to the other. So the energy is not streamlined. It's not like harmonious. There's tension there. You know, it takes more work out of you to try to make them both work because they're both talking at the same time. So that was, I think, probably the best way of explaining that so far, because I'm definitely grateful to the angels for the kind of the channel message that came out there. I think it was helpful the way that it came out. I'm glad to hear, Brandy. So glad. All right, well, I think I'm going to wind this down. So I want to thank people that caught this live. Thank you so much, Brandy, for catching my live. Thank you. It looks like Suzanne made it at one point. So thank you for watching and being here. And definitely, I will see you guys any of a number of places. I'll see you on the next live, on my email newsletter. You can catch me on my YouTube, all the things. So I'm wishing everybody beautiful new moon blessings. I'm still wishing people happy Mabon, even though it was several days ago. Happy Libra season, happy Mabon, happy new moon. Hope you guys all have a wonderful new moon, and I'm sending fairy blessings. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you. I received that. Bye, everyone. Have a good night. I'm going to end the live here. Much love.